Today I just wanted to go over some information that might be helpful, especially for potential buyers. These Evo 8s and 9s, they're getting close to 20 years old. A lot of them have 4 to 5 owners, and it only takes one of them living in a northeast environment for them to quickly get corrosion, especially if they're daily driven. Most of the ads I see for people wanting these cars always say, oh hey, I don't want rust. But what does that really mean? So I'm just going to go over some of that today, and also how to keep it from getting worse. Significant corrosion could affect the selling price of the car. It could get really costly to repair. And it's a shame because these cars are marketed for all season and they're known for exceptional handling in the snow. I've done it myself a few times and it definitely is fun, but there is a price to be paid. This car is a 2006 SSL. I bought it with 93,000 miles, mostly in Massachusetts. It currently has 109,000 miles. Paint is still good, which is usually the case on these kind of cars. But it's really when you get underneath, in and around, that you start to see the problems. First scenario is that you're a buyer and you don't have access to a lift or a floor jack. Here are some of the things you could look for. The bolts in and around the engine bay. In this area right here. On really badly rusted cars, it'll be very obvious that there's a problem with rusting. This ABS pump module, the circle looking thing, on these kind of cars are usually really rusted. Same with the frame back there. And all these problems are more apparent if there's no under tray on the car, as with this one. I believe the under tray from the factory has like over 20 bolts, so many people decide to leave it out. But the trade-off is when you're driving through snow, salt, that stuff gets splashed everywhere from ground up. Depending on how low the car is, if you could get underneath the front, you can check the center member, the tow hook for rust here. Also the ACD pump on the right. So I'm going to point that out. Those are usually bad on rusted cars. If you can, check out the struts. The OEM Bilsteins and KYB are known to rust pretty badly. The fenders, hood are aluminum. So was the roof on the MR. I have a steel roof, so there might be some rust there. From the side, you can look for the jacking points, the pinch welds. I have seen some cars where this rear quarter panel area bubbles and the rust is very obvious, or any correction that was done somewhere around here. Also, cars with the fenders rolled. Sometimes they'll crack the paint and cause some rusting if that's not patched. In the back bumper cover, we have a license plate frame that could show rust. There's not much in the cabin to look for, but in the spare tire area, sometimes you'll see some corrosion in the well. But it seems the more common problem area is this toolkit storage area. From the rear, near the exhaust, you take a look at the sway bars, maybe the rear differential, or the mustache bar. When those rust, they rust really quickly. Check out the frame near the rear tow arm mount. I'm trying to point to it. I'll show that in better detail later. So if you have a lift, let's look underneath the car. Before I start, I just wanted to mention that any oily looking areas you see is part of the treatment that I'm doing. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to split this into 3 sections, starting with the rear of the car. First and foremost, I want to go over this rear tow arm mount area near the frame. This is the most important area you want to check for. On Evos with rust problems, this is the most likely area that you're going to have issues. On cars where it's really bad, entire sections will flake off, and this will affect your toe alignment if that thing breaks off. So I'm going to start showing common areas of rust. This is the rear crash beam, the charcoal canister, rear sway bar, mustache bar, axles, the rear differential, the support mounts, the gas tank itself. Don't mind me, I was draining the fuel, so it's a little messy. Anything else that's suspension and wheel related. In the center section of the car, it's mostly a drive shaft, but this usually has surface rust. The supporting mounts, the exhaust, and the shield. There's usually a lot of rust up there. Frame rails, any pinch welds. This bracket supporting the lines, that has some rust on there. Moving to the front subframe, Mitsubishi has a recall for this. The lower control arm bolt is known to seize, and you can't get it out without cutting it. The lower tie bars, if your car has these, the end links, again the axles, tie rods. The oil pan is a really common area because it's so low to the ground. This front center member had a lot of rust on there. Radiator support mounts. My clutch slave cylinder, that has rust on there too. And here's the really bad ACD pump. The brackets, the supports, those are usually really corroded on these cars. In terms of treatment, there's many ways to go about it. I started with POR 15 in 2014. Unfortunately, unless you prep it right, it will just start flaking off in a few years, turns yellow, and just comes off in sections. That's what happened to me. Through some research, I found that some people use fluid film, and that's what I did. No matter which method you choose, you have to start with preparation. Good preparation. Any loose rust you have to scrape off with a chisel, screwdriver. No matter what you do, if the preparation is bad, whatever treatment you put on top of it is just not going to last. After the scraping is done, I spray rust converter, which is black. After that dries, I put fluid film, which is kind of oily, so you can see that it's greasy. The drawback is that anytime you wrench under the car, it's going to be rather messy, but I think it's worth the trade-off. Oil and water don't mix. You see that a lot with cast iron cookware in the house. As soon as the oil dries up, it starts rusting. So every year, every fall, I reapply the fluid film. Be aware that some sellers will attempt to spray undercoating on a badly rusted car in an attempt to hide the issues. But all it really is doing is hiding the problem. It traps moisture, and unless it was done perfectly, in a few years you're going to have the same problem of the rust coming back. And it might even be worse because you can't see where the problem areas are. But again, if you had to check just one area when buying a car, is this one right here. A quick story, my friend bought a perfect Evo from Arizona in terms of corrosion free. He came to the Northeast where I am now, daily drove it, And sure enough, it started corroding really quickly. My friend gave me really good advice when I bought this car. He mentioned to really focus on the areas that are non-replaceable. My advice is if you get a car with some surface rust, I would take care of those areas, especially the problem areas, quick sooner than later. So I really hope this helps some people out there who are looking to buy an Evo 8 or 9, maybe even an X. It seems to be a common problem of all these generations. If I missed anything or if any comments, please leave it down below.